Rahul, I'd like to come to you first. Uh, it wasn't as specific, was it? The allegations against Nitin Gadkari, they weren't as specific as the ones that were made during the first tranche of allegations against Robert Vadra.
Well, yes and no. In some senses, I think the issues were framed at the very beginning
Yes.
by Arvind Kejriwal. He actually spoke about three questions around which he was going to elaborate. Let me first recap some of those questions. He first began on a general point. Is the Bharatiya Janata Party the credible opposition party that it claims to be, the independent opposition alternative to the Congress, or is it in some states in league, in fact, with ruling parties, like
Yeah.
perhaps even the NCP, or even perhaps at some levels with the Congress? He also went on to say, do Mr. Gadkari's business interests clash with the interests of Vidarbha farmers? Then he got very particular. Thirdly, he said, are his business interests built at the cost of the interests of the Vidarbha farmer, i.e., are his business interests hurting the Vidarbha farmer? It is on these last 2 points where Arvind Kejriwal sought to bring out a large number of documents
Yes.
to prove through letter trails how perhaps Gadkari had amassed for himself allegedly a fortune at the cost of the Vidarbha farmer that was committing suicide. He elaborated on points. He went ahead and suggested that a whole documentary record of everything that he had personally looked at was available on the India Against Corruption website. The point to note, however, is that the allegations are very similar in nature
Yes.
to the ones he drew against Robert Vadra, pointing to a quid pro quo, this time between Gadkari and the NCP, Ajit Pawar in particular, who till very recently was the Deputy Chief Minister of the state of Maharashtra. So the quid pro quo extending across party lines, this time suggesting that the Bharatiya Janata Party had its own equation with a party that is already in government at the center, which
Yes.
ostensibly targets. So quid pro quo coming in once again. Very clearly, the strategy was on the behalf of Arvind Kejriwal to project himself and his grouping as the credible alternative,
Yes.
as the minimum credible alternative, the denominator for the voter to consider. That is what the aim was, and
Yeah.
I think on the face of it, these charges will stick only if it means in the public imagination.
All right. There were some specific charges, and like Rahul was just pointing out, several similarities between the allegations that were leveled against Robert Vadra, the possibility of a quid pro quo and favors granted, as a result of which land changed hands very, very quickly. Congress leader Sanjay Nirupam is on the phone line with us. He's a member of parliament as well. Mr. Nirupam, your reactions to Arvind Kejriwal's allegations directed at the BJP president?
Basically, I'm out of home, so I don't know exactly. But what I've heard from different sources,
Yes.
that Mr. Kejriwal is making allegations that Mr. Gadkari is into some land scam.
Yes.
He has grabbed some land, or in an unauthorized way, he has taken land from some farmers. Clearly, it shows that he has abused his power. And in this situation, he is answerable. He should basically reply.
Mr. Nirupam, these are allegations which are in many ways similar to the allegations that were leveled against Robert Vadra as well. We've seen the Congress come out and defend those allegations. We've seen the things that the Congress has said about the manner in which Arvind Kejriwal has made these allegations. Is the Congress going to maintain its integrity as far as these allegations are concerned? Or are you going to take Arvind Kejriwal's allegations against Gadkari more seriously now because they suit you?
See, I don't think, first of all, there is no comparison between Mr. Vadra and Mr. Gadkari. Mr. Vadra is just a private individual. He happens to be a relative of Congress family, that's all. But Mr. Gadkari is heading a main party, he is the national president of a party, and if he is found involved in this kind of illegal activities, I think it's a bigger question.
What do you think should happen now, Mr. Nirupam? Do you think there should be an investigation? Do you think there should be some kind of moral responsibility? What would you be looking for from the BJP right now?
The way BJP started a trend with regard to Salman Khurshid issue, and before any inquiry, they started demanding that Salman Khurshid must resign from his post. I think we should follow the same trend and ask Nitin Gadkari to resign from the post before any inquiry is set up.
All right. Sanjay Nirupam of the Congress says that the BJP should practice what it preaches and that Nitin Gadkari should step down as party president. Sanjay Nirupam, stay with me for a moment. Our executive editor, Rahul Shivshankar, has a question.
Mr. Nirupam, why isn't the Congress coming out and committing itself to demanding a probe into the activities of Mr. Gadkari? That is a central question that is also being asked, in fact, by even Mr. Gadkari, by Mr. Kejriwal today. I'm sorry.
No, I couldn't follow your question, Rahul.
Why isn't the Congress party coming out and committing itself to a probe into the activities of Mr. Gadkari as alleged by Mr. Kejriwal?
It is too early. Congress party will certainly come out with this formal statement. Right now, we are just discussing the press statement given by Mr. Kejriwal. It takes some time, but it's clearly the way Mr. Kejriwal has produced the evidences and the documents, it shows that Gadkari is somehow involved in some land scam.
No, but surely, Mr. Nirupam, farmers have died and committed suicide in Vidarbha. A direct correlation is being sought to being drawn by Mr. Kejriwal to these deaths, to Mr. Gadkari's activities and the activities of also your alliance partner in the state, the NCP's Ajit Pawar. Surely the Congress, as a responsible party in power, would want to know if these allegations are true or not.
Of course, some sort of inquiry or probe should be set up to look into the exact activity of Mr. Gadkari and what relationship he has got with the ex-deputy chief minister or anybody in the government. And how come a man, how come any company, any individual is getting land in 4 days? It is not a case with a common man. The common man applies for anything, he doesn't get in time. But Mr. Nitin Gadkari, being the national president or a BJP leader, applying for a piece of land, 100-acre land, and getting it in 4 days. So somehow he must have abused his power, his position.
Well, he has certainly pointed in the right direction. Should not perhaps Mr. Kejriwal's efforts be bolstered by an official probe? Wouldn't that make it all the more easy to try and unearth the truth, sir?
So what type of official route you want? You mean some inquiry has to be set up?
An independent inquiry, sir. An independent inquiry, because the longer the Congress...
See, basically now the ball is... The BJP must clear its position that on the allegations made by Mr. Kejriwal, what is their own stand? How do they want to go ahead with this case? Because they always teach a lesson to us. They always give a lot of speeches that Congress party is doing this, Congress party has done this. Now, for the first time, BJP has been caught. BJP top leadership has been caught, and they should come out with their point of view.
Okay, because many people, Mr. Nirupam, and I don't want to constantly seek answers around the same question. The point I'm making is that the public perception is this, that both sides are hand in glove. That is what Mr. Kejriwal seems to be suggesting. And he has said that the longer both sides refuse to entertain the idea of a probe, it will only go to prove that there is a nexus between both sides, between all political parties. Therefore, to end that perception, I'm asking you, Mr. Nirupam, should you not set a deadline perhaps for the institution of a probe?
See, perceptions are never true. I can prediction that there is no nexus between Congress and Nitin Gadkari or his party. We are not hand in glove. Our or any other party is in hand gloves with BJP. I can't make any statement on this because I'm not sure about this. But as far as my party is concerned, we have nothing to do with Nitin Gadkari's scam. Yes, the probe or the inquiry has to be set up to look into the whole issue related to Mr. Gadkari.
Sir, can I ask you a direct question if you don't mind? The direct question is that if the Congress party demands a probe into the activities of Mr. Gadkari, isn't it worried that perhaps it will have to also order a similar probe into the activities of let's say Mr. Salman Khurshid, that Mr. Kejriwal has also come out and exposed, or even Mr. Robert Vadra? Is that the real worry?
No, not at all. Mr. Salman Khurshid has already offered that please set up any inquiry against this whole thing, and if I'm found guilty, any action can be taken against me. But Mr. Kejriwal or BJP was insisting that before any inquiry is set up or any result is coming out, Mr. Khurshid should resign. That was the case. But in Gadkari case, I don't think we are afraid of anything. And please don't draw any parallel between Mr. Vadra and Gadkari. Gadkari is the head of the party.
Right.
Mr. Vadra is just a private individual.
Okay, Sanjay Nirupam of the Congress not committing fully yet to a formal statement and only saying so far that the BJP must practice what it preaches. We will be expecting a formal statement. There is a press conference that we're expecting by the Congress's Rashid Alvi just moments from now. That'll be live, of course, over here. Senior journalist from Mumbai, Girish Kuber, is with us live from the city. Girish, there have been allegations about Nitin Gadkari, various linkages between him and other people, members of parliament and businessmen over the last 2 to 3 months. What to you was the takeaway from these allegations that Arvind Kejriwal has put on the table today?
Yeah, when I heard Arvind Kejriwal, the only reaction that came to my mind was that he just brought the facts before, the facts which everybody, all the senior journalists or the media persons in Mumbai and Maharashtra are well aware of.
Yes.
I've been talking about it for many years, and not only me, but there are many others who pointing out that Maharashtra economy is completely contractor-driven economy. And these contractors, the lobby of the contractors or the real estate players or irrigation contractors, they are multi-party basis. So they are not aligned to any particular party. For example, one of the leading toll contractors in Mumbai was Gadkari's baby, who apparently switched over to Sharad Pawar camp, and now who after Gadkari becoming a president, he still continues to enjoy blessings from the BJP leadership. So it is Maharashtra is fairly known. At the top level or at the contractor level or at the level where money is made, these guys are handing over with each other. So there is no problem from the press conference or the allegation.
Okay, so you're saying there's no fresh takeaway from these allegations of collusion between the NCP and the BJP's Nitin Gadkari as far as land deals are concerned. Thanks, Girish Kuber, for speaking to us from Mumbai. Political editor Javed Ansari is with us live as well. Javed, we just got off the phone with Sanjay Nirupam of the Congress. Very circumspect so far. They've said the BJP should practice what it preaches. They haven't gone out on a limb. They're not going out all guns blazing against the BJP. That's pretty easy to understand, considering what's been happening over the last couple of weeks, specifically pertaining to Arvind Kejriwal, isn't it?
Well, indeed it is. There is this uncanny convergence of views or stands where the BJP and the Congress party are concerned, and it doesn't happen too often in politics. I haven't seen it happening very often. It's understandable. Both these parties are under fire, and Arvind Kejriwal repeatedly made this point. He repeatedly underlined the point that all these parties were cut from the same cloth, that they were hand in glove, and that and very cleverly he positioned himself as the real alternative, saying that there was very little to choose between BJP, BSP, SP, Congress, DMK, AIDMK. He named everybody, Shiv Sena, BJP, everybody except the left parties, perhaps more kind of an omission than by any intent, but he named everybody, and he was very cleverly and smartly positioning his yet to be named political outfit as the real political alternative before the people.
Let's get a word in from a former IAS officer and analyst Arun Bhatia, who's with us live from Pune. Mr. Bhatia, journalists in Mumbai saying there was nothing new in what we heard Arvind Kejriwal say about Nitin Gadkari and those alleged collusions, with NCP leaders in Mumbai. Favorable. Okay, Arun Bhatia, I'll just come to you in a moment. Rashid Alvi of the Congress is addressing a press conference. Let's just listen in.
सर, आज केजरीवाल ने गडकरी पे बड़े संगीन आरोप लगाए हैं कि किसानों की जमीन करीब 100 एकड़ गैर कानूनी ढंग से उनको दे दी गई। केवल इतना ही नहीं, बल्कि उनके जो पावर प्लांट हैं उससे निकलने वाला धुआं लोगों की सेहत को नुकसान पहुंचा रहा है। पानी जो जहरीला निकलता है वो लोगों के पीने के पानी में शामिल हो रहा है। प्रशासन सरकार कुछ नहीं करती और वहाँ नहरें नहीं खुदी बल्कि बांध बनाए गए जो कि नेताओं के काम आ गए। क्या कहना है आपका?
आज उन पे संगीन इल्जामात उन्होंने लगाए। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष गडकरी साहब पे ये तमाम इल्जामात हैं और ये वही लोग इल्जामात लगा रहे हैं। जब वो लोग दूसरों पर इल्जामात लगाते हैं, हम पर इल्जामात लगाते हैं, तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी जश्न मनाती है। उनकी आवाज में आवाज मिला के वही इल्जामात लगाती है। ये नहीं देखती क्या सच है क्या गलत है। आज जब उनके दामन को दागदार किया जा रहा है, जब उनके खिलाफ इल्जामात लगाए जा रहे हैं, ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो देश को सफाई दे, वो बताएं क्या सच है क्या गलत है। हम इससे ज्यादा और कुछ नहीं कहेंगे।
आपको लगता है कि जिस पर केजरीवाल लगातार आरोप लगाते हैं मुख्तलिफ पार्टी पर, कांग्रेस पर भी लगाए और बीजेपी जिस पर अगर बार बार जांच की मांग कर रही थी, चाहे वो वाड्रा का मामला दूसरे में सलमान खुर्शीद का हो, लेकिन क्या कांग्रेस चाहेगी नहीं कि जब इन पे आरोप लगे हैं इसकी जुडिशियल इंक्वायरी होगी?
देखिए, बिल्कुल हम अपना स्टैंड हमारा बहुत साफ है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रवक्ता, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेता उन्हीं के लगाए हुए इल्जामात पर जब वो दूसरों पर लगाते हैं तो मीडिया के सामने आकर उनकी आवाज में आवाज मिलाते हैं। ये नहीं देखते कि वो इल्जामात कितने सही कितने गलत है। आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे इल्जाम लग रहा, उनके अध्यक्ष पे इल्जाम लग रहा, कितने सीरियस है, क्या सच है क्या गलत है, किस तरीके के इल्जामात हैं। हम पहला मौका भारतीय जनता पार्टी को देते हैं कि वो इन इल्जामात की सफाई देश के सामने दे।
शुक्रिया।
Rashid Alvi of the Congress saying they don't really want to say very much at this stage. They want to give the first opportunity of explaining and giving answers or putting on answers on the table to the BJP. In the last couple of weeks, we haven't seen this kind of moderation, this kind of sense of measure from politicians, considering that Arvind Kejriwal has targeted both the Congress and the BJP where it really, really hurts. Arun Bhatia, apologize for interrupting you a little earlier. We had to get that Congress statement. Your reactions to what you've heard today, Mr. Bhatia, the allegations against Nitin Gadkari from Arvind Kejriwal.
Two, three things. Number one, whether Gadkari has business connections with Ajit Pawar or not, this is a matter of conjecture. It will come out in an investigation. Let's leave that aside. Let's go to the main point.
Yeah.
The strongest point, the most concrete point. Nitin Gadkari has taken land for himself or his NGO against government regulations, against government rules, against the Land Acquisition Act. So that itself is an illegal thing and falls under the purview of the Anti-Corruption Act. That is how crores worth of public assets get distributed and fall into private hands. Adarsh, bears a good comparison. What has happened in Adarsh,
yes,
which was considered such a big scam, is exactly what happens in cases like Gadkari. There was no auction. In fact, the land should have been returned. Kejriwal is quite right. The land should have been returned. It's acquired for a public purpose. If it's not used for that, it has to be given back to the farmers.
Yes.
Maybe he's stretching the point by saying, no, this is linked up with suicide, because giving back one plot is not going to solve the problem of marginalized farmers. But
Sure.
It's very concrete, the charge has to be answered, and he should be prosecuted. No question about it, he should resign.
Okay, so you're saying that he should
other point
resign.
that's been raised
There
by the-
are hard facts that have been put on the table by Arvind Kejriwal. Rahul Shivshankar, Executive Editor, is still with us. Rahul, how is the BJP actually going to deal with this? Over the last couple of weeks, on October the 6th, when Arvind Kejriwal came out with his first set of allegations, part one, as we called it, against Robert Vadra. All this time we've seen a complete defense of Robert Vadra, no investigation ordered into those very specific allegations of dubious dealings between him and the real estate company, DLF. So what real incentive does the BJP have to go out on a limb and take any abrupt or concrete action at this stage?
Well, the only incentive it has is if it is in fact learnt the lessons from the Congress party. Now that is critical. If the Bharatiya Janata Party has observed closely the manner in which the Congress party has tied itself up in knots and it doesn't want to do that, then perhaps it will take a less confrontationalist line and will say, okay, there are these charges that have been brought. We don't fear an independent inquiry. We are open to any of the authorities coming out and instituting an independent inquiry. It would take, in fact, the fight into the Congress's camp. It would put the ball, in fact, in the Congress's camp, knowing very well that if the Congress comes out and institutes an inquiry, it will have the freedom, therefore, that the Bharatiya Janata Party and the other opposition parties will have the freedom to seek inquiries into A, Salman Khurshid, B, into Robert Vadra's alleged irregularities. So it will perhaps call the Congress's bluff. If I were today a tactician in the Bharatiya Janata Party, I would perhaps knuckle down and say, let's throw the ball back into the Congress's court. Let's in fact dare the Congress into instituting an inquiry and seeing from where this will move ahead. Because if an inquiry is instituted and it does come to light that there was a nexus between even the NCP on the one hand and Mr. Gadkari on the other, as far as these particular allegations are concerned, well, then it cuts both ways, doesn't it, Shiv? And that is perhaps the one thing that the Congress will try not to in any way get entangled in, a similar demand for a probe into some of their leading lights.
Rahul, just to follow up on that very briefly, if there isn't a confrontationist line between the BJP and Congress on these allegations, I mean, the BJP was very confrontational about the Robert Vadra issue, but now we're seeing a sense of measure between the two parties. Isn't that bad for Arvind Kejriwal, considering that he needs, a confrontational tone to actually perpetuate the allegations that he's made?
Well, this is a war that is being fought in the realm of perception, Shiv, and let's not make any mistake about that. What Kejriwal will then come out and say is that I always told you that the political class as a whole wants to protect its interests at any cost. And therefore, they don't want to stand out there and expose each other, because it means that their own interests in the eyes of the public will stand exposed. Their nefarious interests will stand exposed and they will stand discredited as a whole. And therefore, choose me as the alternative, because I'm the one who has brought this muck out into the open. And this muck now, as you can plainly see, tars everyone across the political spectrum. And I'm Mr. Clean, and therefore think of me as a credible alternative.
Arun Bhatia, do you think the BJP is going to think that way? Learn lessons from the way the Congress has tied itself up in knots, taken a sort of very, very strongly confrontational stance. You had ministers coming out to defend Robert Vadra. No investigation ordered yet. Robert Vadra has not come out and faced the public. He hasn't answered any specific questions. Do you think the BJP would be thinking on those lines? We can't be doing what the Congress did. Let's be much cleaner than that.
Yeah, because this has been happening for years. I mean, they've even admitted that they don't go and attack each other's relations and friends. That's what they should be doing, because that's how public money is put into Benami assets. So what was said the other day on TV by a minister, I mean, it's ridiculous. So there is an unspoken code. It's unethical, it's bad, it's a code amongst thieves. They have, under the carpet, they have relations with each other. All that is true. But let's just be very clear about one or two things. He has won the first round. Kejriwal has won the first round.
Indeed.
Because Khurshid's language is the language of a man who has been defeated. It is the language of a man who is guilty. It is the language of a man who has shown his true colors because he is desperate. Beneath the veneer of sophistication, this is what mafia rule is all about. This is the face of the mafia, the presentable face of the mafia. And it doesn't matter whether the Congress or the BJP hold inquiries against each other. It's you and me, sir. It's the common man on the street that now can see through this, facade. That is what Kejriwal has won. Today or tomorrow, the investigation will take place. The public going to the courts will make sure that the investigation is correct. These guys are not going to get away. Vadra and Gadkari and the rest of the gang. But he has won the first round.
Like Rahul was saying, if this is a battle of perceptions, then the round has definitely gone to Arvind Kejriwal. Political editor Javed Ansari is still with us. Javed, uh, are we going to see the BJP now go a little easier on the Congress as far as Robert Vadra and Salman Khurshid are concerned? Is the ball now, at least for now, in the BJP squad?
Well, most certainly it is, and the BJP has the advantage that they were forewarned. This was expected, and then the Vadra episode events overtook them. So they had enough warning and enough time to prepare, and hopefully they've learned their lessons from the way the Congress party's all-out aggressive stand has exploded in the face, has boomeranged on them. The BJP's, which I'm given to understand, will be a more calibrated approach. But there is also a uncanny resemblance between the nuanced stand that the BJP and the Congress are taking vis-a-vis each other.
Yeah.
They will say that these allegations do not amount to much. These are basically and merely allegations. Until Mr. Kejriwal is able to substantiate them, we shouldn't give it more credence. Both sides realize that Mr. Kejriwal is trying to paint the entire political class, as being corrupt, and he wants to position himself and his yet to be named party as the real political alternative. He he obviously doesn't like the Congress, and now he also wants the BJP out of the way. So even while he may not have dropped as big a bombshell as he did in his first press conference, the BJP has a lot to be wary about as far as Mr. Kejriwal is concerned.
Rahul, this is a war being fought on two fronts for each of these entities involved, isn't it? You've got the BJP, Congress, and Arvind Kejriwal in a sort of triangle fighting each other, and that's where we're seeing this kind of sense of measure that's suddenly come into what was otherwise expected to be quite confrontational.
Well, yes, in a sense, yes, you're absolutely right, Shiv. But the biggest problem for both these political parties is that Kejriwal is the outsider.
Yeah.
He can afford to level all these allegations because, at least on the face of it, he has no conflict of interest. If one were to believe and take at face value the allegations that have been made by Mr. Kejriwal, then it becomes more difficult for the Congress and the BJP to go after each other or other participants in this big political theater, because all of them have interests that conflate at one particular point in time at some level or the other.
Yes.
Which makes it very, very difficult for them to articulate in the whole position that could be widely populist as well as in favor of larger public interest and opinion. And this is where Arvind Kejriwal has emerged as a game changer in this political game. In fact, if I could hazard a slightly subjective opinion, it would be that Arvind Kejriwal today has changed the rules of political engagement in the country, and this is really what is upsetting various political players, and specifically those that are established political parties, which have a large number of interests to protect both at the national and the state level.
Arun Bhatia, that's what it is really, isn't it? That element of this outsider who suddenly jumped in, changed the way things are done, fired in both directions. And there's a sense of, uncertainty. It's no longer a conventional battle, a two-sided battle. The BJP and the Congress are both a little unsettled at this stage about just how to hit back, just how to react, just how to play politics on something like this.
True, sir. It is true that a new ideology, if you like, or a movement has emerged. But we have to understand that will be limited to the educated people who understand corruption and want to do away with it, urban areas. Yeah. You saw the way when Khurshid said, "Khoon mein karenge," people were clapping. People were clapping and applauding. So you've got the caste vote, you've got the vote banks, religion, caste, and most of all, these parties control the money lender, the landlord, the contractor. These are guys with money, and they stand to lose their livelihood. So you will always find support for these traditional parties. The new ideology means nothing for them. They are against it. So therefore, these people who've been ruling this country because of vested interests and the ignorance of the voter will continue to hope to win elections, and they might. The important thing now is that he's got a section of the electorate who understands and who will back him, Kejriwal. So he may put up candidates for 150 seats. He may get 50 or 60 because the urban areas consist of tehsil places, district towns. It's not just the big cities, and the young people, and a lot of propaganda on the internet. Okay. So he's going to get his votes. It is a new it is a new ideology, and the Congress and the BJP don't know how to deal with it because, It's totally foreign to them.
It's a completely changed political game is what it is. Let's just remind you, gentlemen, stay with
Yeah.
me. Just a reminder to our viewers what Kejriwal said at his press conference just about an hour ago. Here's what he said about those land deals involving Nitin Gadkari as well as the irrigation scam. Here's what Arvind Kejriwal said.
एक महीने से भी कम समय में अंजलि ने ये तो खुलासा कर दिया कि वो कौन से 4 काम हैं जो एनसीपी और कांग्रेस वाले गडकरी साहब के लिए करते हैं। बदले में गडकरी साहब क्या फायदा पहुंचाते हैं इनको? क्विड प्रो को सब कहते हैं भाई क्विड प्रो को तो हुआ होगा, ये क्विड प्रो को क्या है? गडकरी साहब क्या फायदा पहुंचाते हैं? गडकरी साहब इस देश के लोगों का विश्वास दांव पे लगाते हैं। इस देश के लोगों ने भाजपा को विपक्ष में बिठाया था। इस देश के लोगों ने भाजपा से ये उम्मीद की थी कि अगर रूलिंग पार्टी कुछ गड़बड़ करेगी तो भाजपा उनके ऊपर आवाज उठाएगा। लेकिन गडकरी साहब अपने काम धंधों को बचाने के लिए, अपने पूरे बिजनेस एम्पायर को और आगे बढ़ाने के लिए उन्होंने सेटिंग कर ली है। रूलिंग पार्टी के साथ उनकी सेटिंग है कि आप भी कमाओ, हम भी कमाएंगे। वहां पे जो 71 प्रोजेक्ट, 71 पावर प्लांट लग रहे हैं, वो 71 पावर प्लांट कांग्रेस वालों के भी हैं, बीजेपी वालों के भी हैं, शिवसेना वालों के भी हैं, एनसीपी वालों के भी हैं, सबके पावर प्लांट हैं। तो कोई एक दूसरे के खिलाफ आवाज नहीं उठाता, आपस में सबकी सहमति है कि कोई आवाज नहीं उठाएगा। इसलिए उन्होंने कहा अंजलि को कि ये जो सिंचाई घोटाला है इसके ऊपर हम आवाज नहीं उठाएंगे। शरद भाई, पवार भाई के साथ तो हमारे बड़े मधुर संबंध हैं, 4 काम वो हमारे करते हैं, 4 काम हम उनके करते हैं, तो सारी पार्टियों के आपस में संबंध है। ये भी सेटिंग है कि अगर मीडिया में कोई मुद्दा ज्यादा बड़ा बन जाए तो कहने के लिए ऑपोजिशन पार्टी, विपक्ष पार्टी थोड़ा हल्ला गुल्ला करेगी, 2 दिन के लिए संसद बंद कर देगी, 2 दिन के लिए विधानसभा बंद कर देगी, 1 दिन के लिए भारत बंद कर देगी, लेकिन वो केवल दिखावा होगा, उससे आगे नहीं जाएंगे हम लोग। ये आपस की सेटिंग है इन लोगों की। 4 जून 2005 को नितिन गडकरी जी ने वहां के तत्कालीन सिंचाई मंत्री अजीत पवार जी को चिट्ठी लिखी कि मुझे पता चला कि यहाँ 2 एकड़ जमीन खाली पड़ी हुई है और ये जमीन आप मुझे दे दीजिए। और मजे की बात यह है कि बीआईडीसी ने अगली मीटिंग में उनको वो जमीन देना मंजूर कर लिया। जो वहां पे डैम बना, इरिगेशन डैम, सिंचाई डैम, वो बना तो सिंचाई के लिए था, लेकिन उसका एक बूंद पानी भी सिंचाई के लिए नहीं जा रहा। वो सारा का सारा पानी गडकरी जी की कंपनी और उसी तरह की जो अन्य कंपनियां वहां बनी हैं, उन सारी कंपनियों को वो पानी दे दिया गया।
Going across to political editor Javed Ansari. Javed, considering that, there's been talk for a few days now about Nitin Gadkari being the man that Arvind Kejriwal would name today, which in fact he did, what kind of planning has the BJP actually had preparing for this bomb, as it were, to actually drop? Have they been having meetings? How are they actually planning to deal with it?
Look, I'm given to understand that they will, while we do not know the details, but I'm given to understand what they will do is they will challenge Mr. Kejriwal and his associates to substantiate their claims. The burden of their defense will be that these are merely allegations. It's very easy to make an allegation when you are an outsider, and the onus is on those who are making allegations to come and prove this. And we had indication of this a couple of days back when Mr. Gadkari was asked pointedly about the allegations laid at Mr. Vadra's door, and he said that I haven't seen any papers. All we are hearing is this talk, and unless there is some proof, unless these allegations are substantiated, we cannot give much, and we should not give much credence. So I'm sure the sum and substance of what the BJP will say, their defense will be much or along the same lines. As far as this other question that you were asking the other participants about was how much of a game changer will Mr. Kejriwal be?
Yes,
he's changed the grammar of politics. So far, what was it? Out of bounds, attacking family members and all that. He has begun to hit. He's begun to hit political parties where it hurts. But it's easier for him to do so because he's right now an outsider. He has nothing to lose. Once Mr. Kejriwal comes into power, once he's holding power, and once the levers of power in his hand and where he can extend patronage, that's when he will be held accountable. Right now, there is very little that he can be held accountable for or held against him, and so therefore he's bashing on regardless and making charges. He knows that in this open season of politics. This is helping him. He's attacking the BJP, he's attacking the Congress,
Yes.
he's attacking everybody, and he's helping the spotlights be focused on his yet to be named party and on his personality.
He's relentlessly changed the grammar of politics, really. Rahul, there have been conspiracy theories about, famous conspiracy theories about the factionalism that, sort of divides the BJP, the sort of anti-Gadkari and pro-Gadkari camps, as it were. How are the allegations that have been made by Kejriwal today going to play out in that kind of scenario, in that kind of divided environment in the BJP itself?
Well, it's a very, very interesting question you asked, Shiv, because ahead of this press conference, you had a discordant note that was struck by Mr. Ram Jethmalani when he came out and said that, look, if Kejriwal has the proof, then I'd rather back him over Mr. Gadkari. The point is that will his opinion, in fact, be shared by others in the party? I would think not, given the fact that Mr. Gadkari is the glue as of now that holds the BJP and the campaign together in the run-up to the 2014 elections. What you could actually have if Mr. Gadkari exited the scene and someone else leading a charge to perhaps take the reins of the party is the spectre of infighting within the Bharatiya Janata Party. So I wouldn't be too surprised if the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is meeting at this moment, we're getting news that it's meeting at this moment. There is a meeting at in the capital between Ms. Sushma Swaraj, Mr. Gadkari and other top leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party to talk out a strategy. I wouldn't be too surprised if in a few hours from now, in minutes from now, you hear the Bharatiya Janata Party coming out and closing ranks completely behind Mr. Gadkari.
All right, we're going to expecting to hear from them in a moment. In fact, my colleague Atish Srivastav is right there outside that meeting, waiting to hear about what's going to happen at that meeting. Atish, any details, any indicators, pointers about what the BJP is going to decide to do at this meeting? Sushma Swaraj, Nitin Gadkari, the man who's been targeted, as well as certain other leaders from the BJP there, apparently, Atish.
Well, Shiv, an important meeting is going on right now at Nitin Gadkari's residence, which has been attended by every senior leader, including Arun Jaitley, Sushma Swaraj, Venkaiah Naidu, Rajnath Singh, Ravi Shankar Prasad. Every leader is completely firmly behind Nitin Gadkari. We tried to speak to a few of the leaders. They said that this entire episode, this allegation which has been leveled by Kejriwal were in public domain since many days. They've been published in local newspaper. What they've done is just got it into a central level. There's no substantiating evidence which they have proved, which they have got, because he is also, if the land was acquired by the government was supposed to give it back, not Nitin Gadkari. This is the line of defense which they're taking. And they're also briefing all the spokesperson who will be going to represent BJP in various TV channels, and they are also there. They've been briefed by Arun Jaitley, they've been briefed by Nitin Gadkari. What we know is that Nitin Gadkari also met his lawyers and chartered accountants a couple of days back in Nagpur. Then he came back with all the papers. He went through it, that if at all there is any substantial evidence, what kind of land of defense. But now what we know is that they are a bit relieved. They were expecting much more to come out, but they think that whatever has been leveled now was known to them. These allegations have been leveled against Nitin Gadkari way before, and the moment he became the president of the party, local newspapers were continuously reporting such things.
Atish, the absolute first reaction we got from the Congress was someone who said that the BJP should practice what it preaches, and Nitin Gadkari should actually step down from his position as BJP president. You're saying they've heaved a huge sigh of relief. They were expecting much more things perhaps to actually come out. So are you saying that the possibility of any such action, like Nitin Gadkari stepping down or them saying they're open for a probe, all of those things are unlikely at this stage?
Well, see, we need to wait for the public response. That is something which Nitin Gadkari is wary about, and the entire party is wary about. Party may be confident that nothing much is going to happen, but what about public response? If India Against Corruption people go to people, go and try and expose that this land, which was supposed to be for farmers, was taken by Nitin Gadkari. He took away the land of poor people, the common man, which BJP says that they stand for common man. What happens is they may be relieved, but they are worried because they know that India Against Corruption has momentum, they have support, and if they go around the town, around the country, and say that Nitin Gadkari, who says that we are there for poor man, took the land from them. So it is not going to be easy. They have to come out with their side of the story. They haven't come out so far. They're saying that they will do a press conference. They have the papers. They have to come out with some befitting reply. Otherwise, it is going to be a huge war between Gadkari and Kejriwal, because public succession is something which.
All right, the BJP apparently massively relieved. Nitin Gadkari apparently massively relieved. Sources telling our associate editor Atish Srivastav. Rahul, what do you make of that? The BJP was apparently expecting much more substantial, much more perhaps serious allegations and specific allegations to be made. As an aside, this is possibly something that can only happen in India. A press conference about you, corruption allegations, and at the end of it, you're actually relieved.
Well, it is a relative term, isn't it?
Yes.
What a particular party will consider is bona fide evidence proof against one of its leaders. I'm not too surprised that the Bharatiya Janata Party has come out and has tried to poo-poo, if you would like, the evidence that has been brought ahead. Now, we, of course, cannot come out here and at any level add any of our qualitative judgment to what Mr. Kejriwal has adduced. He has brought out what he feels is clinching evidence. He has produced farmers to second his claims. He's produced documents that he's put out in the public domain.
Indeed.
It's for the Bharatiya Janata Party to evaluate that and to perhaps come out and say, well, we don't accept it, or yes, we do accept it, and we wouldn't mind if these allegations are further probed. But I'm not surprised at all.
All right, you're not surprised at all. Javed, the BJP had early warning. Now they're holding this strategy meeting at Nitin Gadkari's residence. There was a meeting yesterday as well. They've obviously had time to actually prepare. In your professional opinion, how do you think it's going to go as far as the BJP is concerned?
Well, the BJP, like Rahul was saying and like my colleague Atish was saying, the BJP will take the line that these are mere allegations, and that that it's now incumbent upon Mr. Prashant Bhushan, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and his associates to substantiate this. And they will heave a sigh of relief. They were probably expecting much worse. The general the buzz in this press conference was, and this was packed. I haven't seen a press conference like this in a long time. It was packed. It's in this new hall here, and it was packed to capacity. And the general sentiment here was this is not quite as much a bombshell as the one that they dropped in the first press conference, and not nearly as bad as what the BJP was expecting. So the BJP will tread cautiously, but they will, of course, rally to Mr. Gadkari's defense. There is no question of the BJP undermining or withdrawing or backing out from Mr. Gadkari. They will rally behind him. They will support him. He is their national president. Anything short of this will be a huge setback and a huge embarrassment, not just for Mr. Gadkari, but also for the party. And this is something they can ill afford. They will stoutly stand behind him and support their president.